Hello, buddy. Welcome back. I'm the Strategy Professor. Today we're doing a coaching session for a Garen top lane. It's a special thanks to Kevin for the generous donation. If you'd like to donate for a coaching session yourself, just email me at thestrategyprofessor@gmail.com. Just $25. It's $5 if you are a member of the channel. If you want to know how to become a member, there'll be a link in the description. It's basically just $5 a month. And you get $5 discount on any coaching or guide, so that just pays for itself right there. If you're going to ever do a coaching session or you want to commission a guide, then you also get to play with us on Sundays for Viewers Night. We just play normals with a bunch of people from the channel. It's a lot of fun. Then we also have a great Discord community. You know, it's relatively small, like close-knit, really chill, cool people. You can have your voice heard, share your stories about League, your pet, your day at work, whatever you want to talk about. It's a good time, so check that out. If you want to watch more coaching, I'll have a link in the description as well. We've got like over 160 coaching videos as of the time of when this is going to get published. So you can go through and watch more games if you want to hear more commentary on some of these games as well. Okay, and don't forget to like and subscribe if you enjoy the content. It's free, it's easy, it helps out the channel a ton. So if you haven't done that yet and you've watched a few videos on the channel and you like it, go ahead and like and subscribe. You can always turn off the bell if you don't want all the notifications, because I know I release a lot of videos. But okay, good. That was a good level 2 trade there. Now, I will say, you know, Garen is not my forte. I don't play a ton of Garen, so I'll do the best to comment on the laning stuff. But hopefully I can help you out mostly with the macro and sort of your mid-game decisions here. Let me make sure I turn off the vision here also. It's about 3 minutes in. You're against a Nocturne. There's a chance he's going to be topside here pretty soon. Your jungler's bot side, so yeah, you got to be careful here. Hey, thanks, Pablo. I appreciate it. Yeah, I wasn't Jared. I was just going to get on to test the internet to see if it was working, and it started working, so I was like, oh, what the hell, I'll just stream for a few games here. Just stream long enough to get demoted and get a coaching session in, you know. Yeah, there he is. So yeah, between like 3 and 4 minutes is really dangerous, because that's most people start on blue side will start on their red buff, and then they'll come top. Although he doesn't have his red buff, so it's a little weird. Or it timed out. No, it couldn't have timed out already, I don't think. But yeah, you know, between 3 to 4, you got to be careful, especially if your jungler's not on that side of the map. Now, he did take a really tricky route. Like, he ran around this ward, so that was pretty clever of him. But especially if you're going to push forward, you gotta watch that sort of zone there, the 3 to 4 minute zone, if you haven't seen him somewhere else on the map. I would probably ward in the middle here instead of in this bush if you can. Like, they can blast plan over, so that's tricky, but at least then you can see. I know the Rammus took the Scuttle, but he might, like, walk over there to see if Scuttle's there, to see if Rammus took it, and then you might catch vision of him scouting the Scuttle. So, before the Scuttles were really as important as they are right now, I would say warding there would be fine, but now I would try to ward around here. Who got that? He did. Alright. Okay, this person's going like tank Kale or something. Iceborne Gauntlet Kale. I don't know what she's doing, but hey, Kale. If you're a subscriber, it's just $20. If you want. And I'm streaming this as well if you're watching the replay, so come out. Usually I stream around 9:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time till about 2 a.m. This is like a super late night special because the internet was kind of messed up earlier, but it seems to have resolved itself. Okay, Nocturne's bottom, so you can go for some aggressive... Well, she's level 6 now, though. She got a level advantage on you after that gank, which sucks. But, yeah, Kale, if you If you donate as a channel member, then it's just 20 bucks. It was basically free, like, to be a channel member if you're going to get a coaching session. Sign up anytime, cancel anytime you want. I just run it through PayPal right now. Okay, John. Thanks, buddy. Thanks for coming out. What's up, Ruben? Workout then shower. Okay, yeah, I was a little confused by the order of operations there, but sounded good. Man, I started watching Breaking Bad again. I'm probably not going to go through the whole thing. I might get hooked on it. I was like, I'll just watch one episode, and I had to watch a couple. I'm like, man, this show is so good. Like, so much happens in the first few episodes, almost in every episode. And it feels organic. It doesn't feel, like, rushed. Like, it has really good pacing. The characters are great, of course. There was only one section of the show that I thought was kind of iffy. I don't want to spoiler it too much, but it was that fly episode, and around that sort of zone, kind of got into a little bit of a lull after a certain major figure disappears, or actually I guess that's kind of close to when he disappears. He didn't even ult for that. Yeah, let me look here again. Okay, you don't have flash. If she walks up and starts trading with you, I would probably just back up there. Like, that's a pretty tricky gank because you don't have your flash and he doesn't ult or anything. Wait, hold on. How did she get a slow on you? Doesn't your Q did you already use your Q on something? Let me see. Watch this one more time. So I'm pretty sure your Q removes slows, right? Okay. Yeah, it did. Okay. Yeah, it was just rough. I mean, I guess the telltale sign is if she starts getting aggressive out of nowhere randomly, then you probably just got to run. But that was kind of tough. When did I start playing League? I started playing League back in Season 1. I played StarCraft 2, and they had a use map settings game called Storm of the Imperial Sanctum, which was like a little small scale MOBA, and I never played a MOBA before, and so it was a lot of fun. And then some of my friends that played that were like, "Hey, we're gonna try to play League of Legends. It's this cool new game." And so eventually I was like, okay, I'll go try it out. And then I ended up just playing League all the time. Didn't play StarCraft 2 anymore. Yeah, you do want deep pinks against him, but it's really hard this early to afford a lot. Especially if you don't have map control. So yeah, I mean, like, you could maybe put a pink here, kind of what Scott's saying. Okay, ping her TP. Hey, Eric. Thanks, buddy. Thanks for coming out. I don't know about Q-Max Garen. I'm not really sure. I think the spin to win is what you're supposed to do, but maybe Q-Max if you're going like Trinity or something. What are you getting? I think I would probably go either Trinity or... I would go Trinity here, I think. I think you have to go an offensive item first, right? The thing about Kayle is she does a lot of, like, AD and then eventually true damage also. And then Nocturne is AD. So I'm not sure you really even want the magic right right now. Yeah, I would just go offense here. I'd go Trinity. Wait for her to ult. There you go. I turn, run. Ult. Okay, nice. Maybe they clean it up? No. That was rough. This Nocturne is dumpstering you. But I feel like if you had, like, a Sheen instead of Spectre's Cowl there, you probably would have been able to kill somebody. Yeah, I think you have to have at least one offensive item first on Garen. If you're going to go for a defensive item, I don't know of an armor item that would be... Have to be like Face of the Mountain or something. I think just going like Trinity Sterix is probably... Yeah, just look at her items though, and you can see that she's not, right? Like, this is why it's important to tab and check it out. Like, she went, her very first item was Glacial Shroud, which is really bizarre. But that tells you she's not going for a heavy build. You can probably assume she's probably going for, like, Iceborne Gauntlet most likely. And so it's probably going to be some kind of, like, tank-ish build on Kayle, which sounds awful, but... Yeah. So you just got to look at her items. Kayle is one of those champions where, you know, you can buy, like, a million different things on her and make it work right now because she's just really overpowered in general. But yeah, she does a mix of AD. I don't know about crit Garen right now. Maybe. But I do think that going like some heavy damage early, like Trinity, is what I think most Garens are doing. I think most Garens actually are doing Q-Max Trinity most of the time, which can be awkward if you're behind, but... I mean, the way you beat her, I think a lot of times, you have to force her to ult and then run away, if you can, when she ults. Yeah, you could go Tabbies here. I definitely wouldn't go Mercs. The Nocturne is... You gotta, like, when you're top lane, you want to itemize not only for the top laner themselves, but also the jungler. Especially if the jungler is coming top a lot. And it's the Nocturne that has all the kills. So yeah, I might go Ninja Tabby here. And then Trinity. If you absolutely feel like you 100% have to get a defensive item first, I think like something like Sterix. It gives you some offense and some defense would probably be good. I wouldn't go Cleaver here. Cleaver's popular on him, but because they don't really have a tank, I feel like Trinity's better. Trinity has more burst, but Cleaver is like more utility for your team.
Turret plate will fall soon.
Something like Ghostblade could be okay as a split push, but you're already like so far behind. I don't think that's an option. So, yeah, I mean, I think Trinity Sterix, Ninja Tabby would be a good start. What's up? Keep farming. You should main Shaco or Hecarim. I mean, either one that you think is going to be more appealing to you. They're kind of different. I would say Hecarim right now is probably stronger overall, but I always mention Shaco is one of my best jungler one-tricks. Just because, like, he almost never sees pro play, so he's a lot less likely to get nerfed. And that also means he's a lot less likely to get banned. People almost never ban Shaco. He very rarely gets nerfed or buffed. People rarely pick Shaco. He's not that popular. And he's very versatile with his builds. So, like, I don't even know what he builds right now. But historically, he can build Lethality. He can get a Trinity Force. He can get crit. There's a lot of stuff he can build. So even if they nerf out certain kinds of items, he can still be a very effective champion. So I would probably say Shaco. I think Hecarim right now is pretty good, but Hecarim historically has been a champ where he's either over the top, too strong, or he's just not that great. I think he's been very difficult for Riot to balance. So I would probably say Shaco if everything else is even. Historically, if you're looking for like what are you going to get the most value out of investing your time into, probably Shaco. But if you're looking to win like right now and within the next month or so, what should you play? Probably Hecarim. I think Hecarim's a lot easier to learn, too. But if you're thinking, like, long-term, like, one-tricking, then I think Shaco's probably better out of those two. Man, it's getting rough out here. Remember, she's got ult, so don't let her bait you. Damn, you're getting pretty far behind on CS too. I guess you're just gonna have to try to split. You know, under these circumstances, I might even just go something like Ghost Blade or Dead Man's Blade or something like that. I don't know. Something that's going to help you, like, rotate and split push more. I guess Trinity. But it's already, like, kind of late for that.
Shut down. Red team's turret has been destroyed.
Yeah, I think Adaptive's really rough here. If anything, maybe Spirit Visage. At least that, like, increases your passive healing. I mean, that is going to help you, like, for the next 4 levels or so. Because her auto attacks, you know, her empowered auto attacks are going to do magic. But then once it converts over to true damage, then that's not going to do anything. That's the issue. So, like, with Kayle, you have to, like, run at her, do enough damage to make her pop her ult. She can't attack while she's ulting. And then try to get out of her ult. And then as soon as, like, the ult wears off, then kill her. Easier said than done. She's very overpowered right now, but that's kind of the thing. Like, you're not going to out-tank her. She's going to kill you unless you do enough damage to kill her first. So that's why I'm saying, like, you need to be thinking, like, aggressive. Okay, nice. The dunk. Good way to change the silence there with Rammus's on. Good job, I should say, doing that. I would just go split aside. Like, you're not going to do anything mid lane, probably. I'll just go run up, push up top. Just try to farm and avoid her. Just go push side lane. Yeah, you're spending too much time just walking around. Garen's just, you're really not going to contribute a lot to team fights, probably. So I would say just push as hard as you can and then run. Maybe Sunfire Cape would have been okay to help you push. It's kind of weird on Garen, but you do push pretty well already with your E. I still think just going for the Trinity. But yeah, going for the tank is really, like, not what you want to do. I know it seems counterintuitive, just because, like, when you're behind, you know, you want to go tank. That's the thought, because tank items are cheaper, and then at least you're doing something for your team. You know, so I get that, but I think the best thing you can do for your team right now is keep Kayle away from that. So force her to go answer a side lane and then out-rotate her back to fight. Nice. Okay. So they're screwing up a lot here. Nice. Okay, good, good. It's late for me because I haven't been to sleep. I always say, like, it's late if I haven't been to sleep and it's early if I have. Yeah, I mean, the reason that I'm up late, for people wondering, is because the internet was, like, absolutely awful earlier. And, I was just going to get on and just test and play a couple of games and just see if it was better. It looked like it was better, so I'm just kind of testing it out here. And then a decent chunk of people showed up, so I was like, oh, what the hell, I'll just go ahead and stream for a little bit. But yeah, so I would just get mobility stuff on it. Like I said, Trinity gives you some extra movement, maybe like Ghost Blade, something like that. Just try to split those side lanes, because I think it's just going to be so hard to run at them. Like the Caitlyn and the Lux, it's just like, you really need flanks. And in order to get good flanks, like typically you have to have good side lane pressure. Yeah, so just running at them is just not going to work, I don't think. It's hard to do side lanes with, like, globals like Nocturne, though. I don't know. It's you're not in a great spot here. Hey, thanks, keep farming. I try. I really hate it. I probably hate it more than you guys do when the stream screws up. I really do, because I always try to put on the best content that I can, and obviously slideshow streams are not great content, so it seemed like just like restarting my computer, maybe there was some glitch in the power. I didn't think there was a storm going on, but to be fair, like maybe there was and I didn't know. Smite it, smite. Nice. They freaked out and smited earlier. Yeah, don't chase down here. I think they're just gonna kill everybody. Maybe? Okay, okay. Maybe? Yeah, you're probably correct to run away. You got the Baron though. Just go down and push bottom. I want to see you in side lanes more for sure. Like, just go push bottom.
Blue team has slain the dragon.
And that sucks. We could have won that last game. That played serious. I didn't beef up that. I mean, we could have won if Vlad didn't int like 10 times too, but I was like the person that was most directly responsible for that last goof. Anyway. Yeah, keep pushing. Okay, maybe with middle, yeah. She's so fast. She's 16 now too, so. Like I said, there's been a couple of times you've been able to make like a decent play in these fights, but like the problem with Garen showing up to these fights like this is you don't have any CC, and you don't have like really good engage, you just have to run at them. And they have a lot of like anti-run at people. With like Caitlyn and Lux, it's so hard just to run at them if you don't have a good gap closer. So, you know, you need to be pushing a side lane out and then coming back in for flanks. I'm not saying like you should never show up to fight, but it can't just be run straight at him. It has to be getting a flank. And ideally, you want Kale not to be there. Like, I think it's more important for Kale not to be there than for you to actually be there. So if you can just push side lanes and force her to answer that, then you're taking her out of the equation and you're letting your team 4v4, which I think is beneficial because I think, honestly, right now, Kale is a lot more valuable to their team than you are to your team. So, Sometimes, if you can just neutralize their best player with a split push, you don't even have to fight them. But just like force them to go answer waves constantly in the side lane, you know, that can give your team a lot of opportunities they otherwise wouldn't have. Because, yeah, I mean, she just scales so hard. She's up 120 CS, like, extremely difficult to deal with. She's got the double slow with the Rylai's plus Iceborne. Double slow does not stack, by the way. But she's KO, so at the end of the day, it doesn't matter if her items are ridiculous. Like, she still does true damage at level 16. Yeah, that is partially why a lot of the, like, challenger, booster type of players, that's why a lot of them will play things like top lane, or play things that can split push in general, because that gives you so much extra, like, tactical diversity. If your team gets behind, or even if you get behind, you can just win off a macro if you have a decent split option. Yeah, we're doing a coaching session right now. Keep farming. It just finished though, so I'll play another ranked game here. So yeah, I think some of the biggest things are early on. Just it's tough to track everywhere the jungler is going to be, but certainly from that 3 to 4 minute mark, if you haven't seen them bot or mid lane, then there's a really good chance that they're coming top lane. So he did a really sneaky route. You know, he ran around the back, didn't run across the ward. So that was tough. But if your jungler's not on your side of the map and you don't know where their jungler is, then you need to be very careful because, you know, they could just come in and gank you. Especially with Garen, who doesn't have a great escape. So, like, just don't ever use your Q, pretty much, to go forward if your jungler's on the other side of the map and you don't know where their jungler is. So, I know it sucks because you want to apply pressure to Kayle early, especially as Garen, you know, someone who's kind of an early to mid-game tempo type of champ. But yeah, that's one thing early on is they got you with a couple of those ganks, and that was rough. They got Kayle, you know, pretty far ahead. She was like up a level and probably like 500 gold on you at least, kind of in the early game. And so that made it really tough to pressure her. And I think going something offensive early on as Garen, you just kind of have to do, because you have to threaten her. You know, if you're getting tank items, then you're just kind of like surrendering yourself to just having a farm off, basically, because Garen does not have enough base damage in his kit to threaten her going full tank. So I think that most people will go Trinity or Black Cleaver. I would do Trinity here because she's squishy. That'll give you the move speed. That'll give you the threat. So that's probably what I would have done is, you know, Trinity, Ninja Tabby, Sterix, something like that. Sterix works really well too if you're getting Grasp of the Undying, because you're going to be stacking up more health, which will transition into more into bigger shields. Well, there were several things. GS ran by. So that's number one, is kind of early on, just be more aware of the jungler, itemize into some kind of threat and power if you're against something that scales like Kayle. And then in the mid game, you know, you almost always want to try to split when you're playing any champion top lane that just doesn't have a lot of CC. Isn't very, well, I mean, I guess Garen's tanky, but he doesn't have gap closers, doesn't have a lot of CC. You just want to be splitting. So, you know, you don't have to 1v1 the Kayle. Usually if you're playing a split pusher, you want to be able to 1v1 the other person, but sometimes you can just push up and then rotate and try to not fight them. So, like, if you push Kayle into her tower and then rotate down to mid lane or something, see if you can make a play, see if you can fight down there, would be nice. So, Trinity helps you rotate faster. Ghostblade can help you rotate faster. Ghostblade's kind of awkward if you're really far behind, but just something that would help you, you know, rotate around a lot more and split push, which, once again, is rough into Nocturne. It's rough into Kayle because they're both very fast and they can potentially run you down if you split. And that's why I'm thinking like Ghostblade would help out a lot, but he just can't really make a lot of contributions into just a normal team fight where you just run at them with their team because they're just going to peel you. So that's just kind of the issue. Or just kind of hold the lane even, just keep splitting until Rammus eventually shows up, and then maybe you can gank the Kayle. So, I don't know. Kind of a tough game, but I think itemize a little bit more power and just see if you can split push more in the mid game, and if you are going to show up to team fights, see if you can get those flanks in there rather than running straight at them. But that's going to be it. Thank you very much. Hopefully that helps you out a little bit. Anyone else that would like a coaching session out there, you can email me at thestratchprofessor@gmail.com. We can set that up. Remember, it's just $25, or if you're a channel member, it's just $20. And I turn it into a YouTube video, post it up, put it in the playlist, give you a shout out, immortalize you on the channel. Then other people can learn as well from your game. So I think that's really cool. I can do it private also if you don't want other people to see it, although I encourage people to let other people see it just because, you know, there's a lot of people that like to learn from watching others on the channel. But anyways, I got one final question from Kevin here. How do you know when to group with your team is 5 or when to be in a side lane split pushing? If it's Garen, most of the time it should be split pushing. So, I mean, there's not a simple answer to that, but a lot of the time you want to apply pressure, and then whenever the enemy top laner gets pinned, then that's when you try to rotate and see if you can get a flank. So you just kind of have to read the situation. You don't even have to get a flank necessarily. You don't have to show up to the fight. You can just get some deeper wards in their jungle, track their camps, or you can steal some of their camps if you see an opportunity. It's basically, you know, if you think you can show up and make a meaningful contribution to the fight, then show up. So it just kind of depends on, you know, how your team's doing, how their team is doing. If you're not sure, I think just split push over and over again. If you play something like Garen, Fiora, Tryndamere, Riven. Riven actually can show up and, you know, because she has a lot of area of effect and she has some CC. She can do some stuff in fights, but most of the time on Garen, I think you just want to split until they send, you know, multiple people to deal with you. So, and just ping your team, just tell them, hey, I'm split pushing. And then if you put them into the tower and there's more people rotating on you, you know, if they send 1 or 2 people to try to catch you, then that's an opportunity where you might look to, you know, either back and get some items or rotate and make a play with your team. But in general, if you're not sure, just split push until someone comes at you and then leave. And then just keep doing that over and over again. Like I said, one of the big, like, the most important thing with that is you would keep Kayle busy. Because she was way stronger than you right there, and she's just way more valuable to her team than you are to your team. So that's like, you know, if you're playing basketball or something like that, and you're just constantly, like, trading fouls with the best player on the enemy team, and you're, like, you know, the 8th person on the bench or something, like, it's a good trade. You know, if their star player fouls out, and you also foul out, that's fine. Right? So that's kind of how it is you're neutralizing one of their main threats, which is Kayle here. So if she constantly has to answer you, then she can't fight at those fights, in theory. So it kind of depends on the situation, but if you're like losing that hard and you just are playing a champ that doesn't have a lot of contributions, doesn't have a lot of CC, doesn't have a lot of AoE damage, like one of the only things you can do is just put pressure on the map by splitting. So anyways, that's going to be it. Thank you very much. Anyone that would, you know, like a replay on stream, just email me, strategprofessor@gmail.com. Happy to help you out with that. Don't forget to like and subscribe. You'll find a link to other coaching videos in the description if you want to watch those. And come on out, join us for the streams, usually 9:30 p.m. to around 2 a.m. most nights. We'd love to have you. It's an awesome community. And I'll see everybody next time.